So today we're here with Luke, the head of marketing at Create PT. So for the people who don't know you, buddy, if you could let us know what your role entails and what you do at Create PT.
Yeah, so essentially I run all the marketing, traditional and digital marketing for Create PT. So primarily website design, advertising and content marketing. Essentially everything apart from really SEO, videography and photography. So everything else is down to me. So also the director of SX marketing as well, which I run alongside with my work with Create PT.
Okay, Luke, so a PT's coming into the industry now, that they've done the level 2 and 3, they're looking at going into online coaching as well. What should they begin with when they're trying to market their new business?
So the first step and the foundation of any marketing is going to be your branding. So that's going to be kind of the foundation of anything you're going to do moving forward. So whether you're going to do, let's say, content marketing, you're going to do SEO, you're going to have a website, email marketing, anything, that all revolves around branding. And there's a common misconception of what branding is. People think it's, like a logo and a font and a range of color palettes, but it's not. Branding is the soul of your business. All those physical assets and the creative assets, metaphorically, that's the body, whereas your brand and your brand mission is the soul of your business and your product and what you provide. When it comes to creating a brand of yourself, the best way of doing that is always just being authentic. Your passions, your beliefs, your mission, everything that you hold true is the best way to build your brand. That honesty is kind of the essence of who you are and what you provide.
Fantastic. Okay, so brand, obviously, as you say, clearly one of the most important things for the PTs. How do PTs go about creating that brand?
So the way I would start, and I like to keep things very simple, I would list everything, all your beliefs, all your passions, your achievements, everything that makes you unique in terms of not just fitness, not just, let's say, like sporting accolades, anything, your personality, your offering, things that you believe in. And then from that list, create a summary from that. So take all those key points, create a summary, and then that summary is your brand mission. So this is who I am. This is the essence of what I'm offering. That's a brand mission side of things. So like, let's say, like the soul of your business and your offering. When it comes to the physical assets as well and the creative assets, there's tons you can do online. So you've got, stock photo websites like Deposit Photos or Shutterstock, even Canva. You can get copyright-free logos from there. You can get templates and branding guidelines as well. Just put something together that's going to be, simple to use, simple to recreate. I see a lot of people, a lot of PTs especially, going out there creating these fantastic brands and they look good, but recreating that every day into a new social media post is going to be a nightmare. If you just create things simply, it doesn't need to be over complicated. You just need nice and simple. Something that you can, let's say if you're going to do content marketing, which is probably the biggest form of marketing for personal trainers or online coaches, just really simple. Simple colors, simple logos, simple fonts, things that you can just put together quickly, or you can create a template out of. It doesn't need to be too complicated.
Yeah, I suppose, like you say, in terms of brands, logos, things like that, the ones that people recognise most when you think about big brands, Nike, it's a swoosh.
Yeah.
McDonald's is 2 arches. They're not sexy. They're not something which is this flamboyant logo with them with their top off looking incredible at all. It's simple that and you go, that's the product that you can connect with these guys. That's the brand.
Yeah.
Easy.
Exactly. It's just that recognition, really. And it's wrapped in, if you look at the golden arches for McDonald's, let's say, it's nothing about food. There's nothing in that to say how good their cheeseburgers are. It's just that instant recognition of that brand.
Yeah. Okay, so the PTs have now established their brand. They know that. Where do they go next?
So for most PTs and online coaches as well, the most prominent form of marketing is going to be content marketing or social media marketing. So the outreach on any organic platform like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, anything like that. But before you can start unveiling that brand and getting that out there to users on those platforms, you really need to work on your strategy. So a lot of this strategy is not just relevant to content marketing, but it's to your digital marketing in general. So really the first step of this strategy is going to be defining your audience. So who you get in front of, who do you want to resonate with? And a lot of this relates back to the brand as well. So the list you wrote up in your brand mission, that summary of that list of what makes you unique and your missions and your beliefs and passions, who's going to resonate with that? Let's say if your list is, you're passionate about fitness being accessible to women in their 40s and early 50s. Okay, so your target audience, who you want to really get in front of, who you want to resonate with, is going to be that demographic. That's what your entire marketing strategy, all your content as well, is going to be revolving around that audience.
I mean, it's so true, isn't it? With regards to knowing who your market is, if you just mentioned there, people in their females in their 40s and 50s, they're not. It's going to be harder for me to market to that market because I'm not. In terms of me being able to create content naturally and organically, it's going to be really hard for me to do because I don't live that life. So it's harder. So people, you're absolutely right with regards to knowing who your audience is and that brand mission, actually knowing what are your traits, what are you good at, what do you, or not even that, is what are your pain points within the brand, like what do I struggle with? Because if you're trying to resonate with those people, chances are they have the same issues. So your content should be not just how awesome you are, but also what crap you deal with as well.
Yeah, and of course it goes back to that authenticity, doesn't it? It's almost, it seems a little bit low hanging fruit. It's like, okay, I can make this connection because I have the same problems. I've struggled with this in the past. You know, you see a lot of people that have lost a significant amount of weight, and then they become, you know, online coaches or PTs, and their speciality is, you know, weight loss and fat loss, and it works really well. It's like, look, I've done this, you can do this, I can help you do this, and that's what a lot of people. That's kind of the base of their brand, and so it should be. If that's what you've done in yourself, and you almost like you've got this self-success story, then use that. That's how you're going to resonate with that audience. So by all means, double down on anything that is affecting you as well, or anything that you've been through. So the target audience has been defined. You know who you want to get in front of, you know who you want to resonate with. The next step is now creating some goals, and those goals are going to give you structure, because if you're going to A to B, you've got to know what B looks like. One thing that I will say, and something that we work on at SX Marketing and Create PT as well, of course, is we don't set measurable goals in the initial phase. Initial phase will be, let's say, the first 3 months of a marketing campaign. Reason being is it's just not reasonable. You can't pull those numbers out of thin air, and you don't know where you're going to be in that time. I mean, we can create a goal specific to content marketing. Let's say I want to get 10,000 followers in 3 months. You don't know if that's going to happen. There's no way. You really, with a lot of content marketing specifically, you're at the mercy of the algorithm. You don't know how your content is going to perform. It could be a case that, you know, you make a couple of reels that really perform well. You get in front of a lot of people, your reach and impressions, engagement are super high, and you get a load of followers off the back of it. But the likelihood is that's not going to happen. You're going to get a few views here or there, a few followers. A lot of the follower base you begin with is going to be your friends and family. Let's face it, that's not just for PTs and online coaches, that's for all businesses. So once you've got past that first phase, that's when we want to start setting these measurable, numerical based goals. So focusing on things like, you know, engagement, your engagement rate, all your top posts, how many followers you have, how many comments you're getting, how many likes you're getting, things like that. So these are all measurable goals, and the way that we would set those up for all marketing strategies would be short term, medium term, and long term. So short term would typically be, you know, 3 months, 3 to 6 months. Medium term would be, let's say, 6 months to 2 years, and long term will be 2 to 4 years. I don't typically, I know it's different based on who you ask, but I wouldn't typically do anything longer than 4 years, mainly because that platform is going to change so much within those next 4 years. If we look at where social media is now, mainly with the rise in short form video content with TikTok, those weren't a thing 4 years ago. I mean, we were just coming out of the Vine era, which is not a thing anymore. That's not even an app. You kind of download it. And that was the peak of social media and content marketing. I mean, not the peak of content marketing, definitely the peak of social media. So yeah, anything longer than that is just unreasonable. And same with the goals you're setting as well. My big thing is not, with content marketing, is not having them centric to sales or revenue or lead generation or anything like that. So your content strategy is not about making sales. It's about engaging with your audience. So if you're going out there to sell, you're going out there to make sales, you're out there to make a profit, you're not making engaging content. You're making content that's basically promotional. And I'll go into that in a minute, but there is going to be a part of that promotion. Of course, there needs to be. You're out there to sell a product, but that's not the main point of your content. That's the main point of the strategy, of course, but it's the individual content that can't be the forefront.
They're going to be following people already who are online coaches and stuff. That's where they've probably found their interest in wanting to do that anyway. So what should they do with that? Should they look at their competitors and, yeah, really, where should they go with what's already out there?
Yeah, you know what, there's a quote from actually Pablo Picasso, which I really like, and it's that good artists copy and great artists steal. So with anything you're doing, you want to be not stealing, maybe stealing is the wrong word for it, but you do want to be going there imitating, because what you're doing, you're following that path. So is there anything that you can take to make your journey easier? Definitely do it, especially if they've got a similar sort of brand as well. If it doesn't have to be a similar sort of brand, they don't have to be the exact same product that you're providing, the exact same service. It can be anything that you can take from there to make your brand and your offering and your content better, then you should do it. The way we do it personally is we would take 3 competitors. This is not just a content marketing. Again, this is for anything we're doing within marketing. We always take 3 competitors. So one, we'd take a direct competitor of a similar market share. We'd take an indirect competitor of a similar market share. And then we'd take an indirect or direct competitor of, let's say, the majority market share or a larger market share. So there you have someone that you're going to be directly competing with. Let's say with social media, this is someone who offers a very similar service to you. If we spoke a moment ago about, like, let's say, fat loss specialists or anything along those fields. Okay, you're going to look at someone who offers that, has a similar brand that has, let's say, 500 to 3,000 followers. So like a micro influencer or just below that level. And then we'd take someone who's a PT, is indirect as well, so maybe a little bit of a different offering or more of a generalist. Same again, 500 to 3,000 followers. And then we'd take someone we can shoot up towards, someone who's bossing it really. So this is going to be anyone from, let's say, 3,000 to 30,000 followers, because anything over that is going to be, shooting for the stars. We want something we can hit within the next 4 years. And 30,000 followers, even though there is a large number, it is attainable. That's something that you can hit. With what you're looking at within these competitors as well, really want to look at what content they're putting out, particularly what content's doing well. So a lot of content at the moment is short form video content. So Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, anything like that is really where you want to be going to with any content you're producing. Have a look at that. That's the first thing you want to do. See what content they're producing in terms of short form video content. What is getting the most views, what's getting the most engagement. Make a note of this, of course, with all your findings. What I do is correlate them on one document, maybe make a list for each competitor. So, right, we've got competitor A, competitor B, competitor C. Where can I capitalize on this? What elements can I take from each of their strategies? Because once you start looking into it and you start breaking down what they're doing, it'll be easy to kind of tell, because you look at it from a different perspective when you're analyzing it. You're not looking at it from, I'm consuming this content. You're looking at it from the perspective as I'm analysing this content. So you'll see patterns in their schedule, in the way they write captions, and what their bios are, to the links where they're sending people, all these different things that you want to put together in a list. Break down what you want to take away, what you don't like, what you do like, what's going well, what isn't going well. Really, what you can do from there is create something of your own, what is going to perform well for your brand and your offering.
I suppose, like you say, with that, you'll find they're 3 different kinds of, or 3 completely different people, but in the same area, same remit. You'll probably find some similarities. The differences might be quality of video, just because, like you say, the ones that are a little bit higher up might have better people to help with the actual video content. They might have better opportunity to shoot in better locations, whatever it may be. But you probably find that things like frequency, the amount that they post and the amount they try and engage is going to be quite high across both. Probably, again, the higher tiered guys are probably putting more content out at a quicker pace because they know it's going to get more eyes on them. But yeah, it's like you say, it's analysing it rather than consuming it. Don't be there like people do, sitting on the sofa getting stuck, just flicking on TikTok. Actually look at the content that you want to look at and analyse it properly.
Yeah, you're exactly right in what you're saying. I mean, if we look at someone with a larger market share, I say market share is probably not the right term to use for this, but with a larger following base, there's a reason they've got that many followers. That's a reason that they've got that engagement and they're getting that many likes or clicks or leads they're generating from that content, because typically their strategy is going to be better. They've put the time in this phase now where you're getting the framework together of how you're going to approach this, how you're going to take the fitness market by storm. They've put in that work there, whereas someone with a lower follower count, they've either only just started, but if they haven't, that's because they don't know where they're going. They're not too sure what B is. They're going from A to B, but they don't know where B is. Yeah. So they're just doing the best they can, posting out whatever.
We've said it before in the past, and when we've done content before, is every personal trainer starts exactly the same place with 0 qualifications and 0 clients. Is where you go once you've got the qualifications and what you tend to do. It's the same here. As you say, every online coach that they aspire to be, whether that be a James Smith with what he's doing with the sort of general population, affordable coaching, whether it be someone more bespoke, which is going to go in, like, say, the bodybuilding world, whoever, they all started where they are now in terms of they've never put their first post out. They've never done their first story. Like, it's what you want to make of it and how much you want to, as you said there, analyse repetition. You've got to put the work in.
Yeah, I'm sure if you look at James Smith's first Instagram post compared to what they are now, he's probably got a whole production team running his content marketing. You know, that's where he's gone, and that's the development of it. But you do have to start somewhere, and if that's just, you know, getting a really simple brand together, getting a really simple content strategy together, and just start churning out some decent content, then that's your starting block, and that's a good starting block as well.
Definitely.
So for those first few bits with the content marketing, you've really got the theoretical side of things out of the way there. So with your target audience and your goals, now you're going to work on your content pillars and get some content ideas down on paper. So we've got 4 content pillars, and content pillars are essentially the categories of what your content are going to be. So we've got 4 there. Number 1 is educational. Number 2 is inspirational. Number 3 is entertainment. And number 4 is promotional. And also you want to split these as well. So having an idea of how much of the content you want to get out on each pillar. I would do a split, and I'd recommend this for anyone in the fitness industry, whether it's going to be online coaching, you know, running a business like we are with Create PT and a marketing campaign for this product. It will be 40% educational, 20% entertainment, 20% inspirational, and 10% promotional. So you've got 90% there of content that's rather going to inspire or educate or entertain your audience, and you've got that 10% which is the promotional side of things. So with that split, because you don't want to be pushing too much promotional content, it's not engaging. People aren't on those platforms to be sold to. You don't go on Instagram to have a look through your feed, to have a look at what products are in the market. You go to Google, you go to Amazon, or you research the product you're after. You're not going to be on there to be sold to. So keeping that down to a minimum is really important. The way that I'd structure this next, so you've got those 4 pillars, maybe write this down on a piece of paper or get a document together online and just start banging out some content ideas within there. So we'll have a look at, let's say, get 5 to 10 ideas for each of those pillars. Once you've got those ideas, a top tip that I like to use, and it makes your life so easy. And the big thing with content marketing is making your life easy. It's so time consuming, you have to be on it 24/7. I mean, if you want to get out, let's say 5 to 7 posts a week, which I would recommend getting out to that volume, especially if you're quite ambitious, staying on top of that's going to be hard. There's going to be weeks, let's say you go on holiday for a week, or you got a lot of clients in 1 week. Staying on top of that's going to be the bottom of your list. But you're going to want to do it, because if you don't, your engagement's going to drop, your followers are going to drop. You need to stay at this. So try and make things serious. So when you're writing down these ideas, let's say we're going to have an educational series. We're going to call it, Compound Lifts 101. And we're going to troubleshoot certain compound lifts. So we're going to do one for bench press, and we'll get 5 episodes out of that. So we'll have that under the educational pillar. Under there, we're going to have, compound lifts 101. Under compound lifts 101, number 1, we're going to have bench press. And then we're going to break down, let's say, another 5 to 10 points underneath that. And then we're going to do squat. And then we're going to do military press. Then we're going to do deadlift. So there we've got 40 videos that we can do with just underneath that one piece of content. We've got 40 videos. You can do that with everything as well, with entertainment as well, educational, and maybe not so much promotional, because you don't want to create a series of promotional content. You want those to be individual, but having that idea is going to make your life a hell of a lot easier. Similar to the brand and the creators that we spoke about at the beginning of this, making it easy for yourself is going to be so much quicker in the future.
Okay, look, so we've done the sort of got our 4 pillars set. We know how much is going to be percentage-wise educational, inspirational, and the other ones. How do we go about creating a schedule for that?
So the best way to do this is putting together a content calendar and a content schedule. I use Google Calendar personally, and what I do before the month's begun, I'll go through and create a note on every single day of what piece of content is going to be going out. So on there I have the content pillar to make sure it all fits within that percentage split, and then I'll take the ideas from the content pillar chart that I made up and just pull those into certain days. So then you've got a full month worth of content planned out, and you really want to do this in advance. So batch make the content as well and batch plan the content. So before you even got to that month, of course it's going to be a bit different at the beginning because you're just starting up. So of course it's going to be your first month, but even later on down the line, try to keep in a habit of this. Before you get to that month, have your entire month planned out. If you're going to get out 7 posts a week, you're going to want every single day filled up of content, more content you get out there. It doesn't have to be, like world-changing content. It doesn't have to be a Michael Bay like level edited short form video, but it just needs to be out there. Good quality content every day of the week.
So going through all the stuff that we have there, buddy, what would be your takeaways? What would you sort of say the main takeaways from the conversation we've just had?
So with the content marketing, it really, the 5 biggest takeaways I'd say is number 1, consistency. So you want to be consistent with whatever you're doing. Whether you're getting 7 posts out a week every single week, if you can't make that drop the level and the volume of content you're getting out there, you want it to be consistent when you're posting, how much you're posting, and how you're posting as well. Number 2, I'd say use templates. Templates are your best friend, whether it's the video templates, whether it's Canva templates, like static graphic design posts. Just make your life easy with that. I'd say next one will be short form video content. So short form video content's king. That's the best way to reach a wider audience. It's not so good with getting people to click through onto your profile and follow. It's almost like a vanity metric with those, because you'll get tons of views, or you can get tons of views, but that doesn't necessarily translate into people going onto your profile, following or engaging with your content. But it is a good way of getting brand awareness out there and hitting a lot of people. The next one would be using a scheduling app. So something that you can centralize all the platforms on. So personally, I use Later, but there's tons of different options out there, and they all basically do the same thing. If you've only got a few accounts, let's say if you're only doing TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, you can probably get that for free on quite a few of them. So that way it just makes your life easy, because you're centralizing it. All you have to do is create that content once, drag and drop it onto a calendar, and then that will go out onto all platforms. If you've got to get to 6 p.m. every day, and you've got to physically go onto those platforms, write up a caption, post it, copy and paste that content into another platform, and do that a few times, it's not going to happen. Again, it's making your life easy and keeping that consistency. So the final thing will be batch making content. So making sure you've got that content made well in advance. Personally, what I do is make the content for the coming month and the month prior, and then you're always a month ahead. That's the easiest way you're going to stay on top of it, because it is hard. If you've got a pretty high volume schedule, say in your strategy you want to be posting every day of the week, that's the only way you're going to stay on top of it. Make it well in advance, because you never know what's going to come up in that month. If you're going to do it on a weekly basis, that's okay. But honestly, I've tried that before, and it's hard. It's hard to stay on top of that, because you never know what's going to come up.
Okay, mate. So social media ads. I see more and more PTs doing social media ads. What's the deal? What do you think?
It's a really hard one, because social media ads for certain businesses work really well, really well. I mean, I'm working on certain campaigns at the moment that have completely changed businesses because of a well-performing social media campaign. For PTs in this instant and online coaches, I wouldn't recommend it, if I'm honest, not until you're later on down the line. Reason being is that the return on investment's unpredictable, and the amount of money that you have to spend in order to refine that strategy down and that campaign down, it costs so much. You have to have money to burn. As a general rule of thumb, I wouldn't run ads unless I wouldn't be devastated by losing the money. You have to have cash to play with, because the likelihood is, I mean, it might not always be the case, but the likelihood is you're going to launch that campaign, you're not going to get the results you hope for, and you're going to stop running them after the first month. But if you have the money to play with, what you want to do is kind of have a 6-month period where we're going to be running a restricted budget, and the entire reason is going to be that I'm going to refine this down. So we're running a campaign, we're going to be doing A/B tests to work out who the best audience is. Then we're going to do A/B tests on what the best creative is. And then we're going to do A/B tests on where the best placement is. We want to whittle this down so we have the best possible return on ad spend. But of course, you have to have money to spend in order to get to that result. So it's not something that I'd recommend, really. If you're a more of established PT, you really have that consistent income, or let's say you're an online coach with a considerable amount of clients, then it's worthwhile considering. But for a new PT entering the industry, I'd stay away from it for a couple of years at the very least. But you really, what you want to do, and what I'd advise, is pattern your organic channels first. You have all the opportunity out there, not only online, but in person as well. Let's say if you're PTing out of a gym, so many free ways of generating clients. Leave the paid stuff for later on down the line.
Yeah, I agree. Like you say, you have got to put money in. I mean, us to create the amount of money we have spent on ads over the years is going to be a crazy amount. Some of them have worked incredibly well, but you have to have that money, like you say, to be able to allow it to run for a period of time to see what is working. A month probably isn't going to be enough to give you any real insight, apart from you just thinking it doesn't work, so you just stop doing them, which isn't ideal. You've got to keep running with it. Let's just say with online coaches, me and you both know people who do online coaching who might be smaller level, maybe potentially bringing in from a monthly basis between $4,000 and $8,000 a month, which is still decent money for an online coach, but not in comparison to you hear people bringing in 10, 20, 30K months as an online coach. But those guys there, the difference between those two is that those guys at 20, 30,000 have probably started to reinvest when they were at this level, because the 4,000 to 8,000, you've got money there to play with each month to lose. If you put £1,000 a month of that into a bit of a paid ad campaign, chances are it's going to work if you just let it happen for 3 months. Whereas the people underneath them who are trying to do it, let's say I've got 5, 6 online clients, might be bringing in a few £100. It's not worth it, is it? Like they're just literally going to be burning their money to after 2 months down the line think, oh, this is shit. It's not. You just don't know how to do it properly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just PTs or online coaches. I mean, with SX, when we speak to like prospective clients when they come on board, let's say if they're a smaller business, they don't have a lot of cash in the bank, they're not cash rich. Cash flow may be an issue as well. If you're not cash rich, typically your cash flow is not going to be great either unless you've got some crazy, like leak in the funnel somewhere. Even then, it's like, no, you don't want to do digital advertising. There's so many other areas you want to work on first. So typically, just not with PTs and online coaches, but we work on, let's say, like website and SEO first. So it's like, right, you'll come to us and you'll say you want social media ads. It's like, you don't, because we're going to be sending them to your website and your website's awful. So you're going to be spending £2,000 a month on Instagram. We're going to have to produce the videos as well and manage the campaign to send people to a website that's insufficient. You're going to lose money. We have to work on that website first. And even when we've worked on that website, let's work on the SEO, because you're kind of walking before you run. SEO, in my belief, is probably the most effective form of online marketing for the majority of businesses because of the longevity and the organic potential it has. You don't have to keep on paying on that. Of course, you can upsell any advertising campaign tenfold, even more, if with the right strategy and the right refinement. But that's if we look at that in comparison, like in relation to a PT, you could think of the gym floor as that website and that SEO. Let's develop on those parts first before we focus on putting that money in each month. Having to maintain it or paying someone to maintain it, burning money on refining it down. There's so many better avenues to go down first. You can cover those bases first and then have a look at that. But I completely agree. You need to have the money there in order to put that in.
Okay, so we've now got a PT online coach who is ready to take the plunge to reinvest some of the earnings that they have into running ads. How would they go about that? What should they be doing?
So it's really hard to give you a direct answer here because there's no, generic answer of how you're going to find success with digital advertising. The one thing that I'm finding a lot of success with at the moment, and this will be very different in probably 6 months' time, but Meta ads, so Facebook and Instagram, lead generation, advertisements on there, they're just getting cheaper and cheaper. I mean, I'm running some campaigns where before they were paying, £10 per lead, and now they're paying below £3 per lead. It's absolutely insane. You're not getting that on any other platform. No TikTok, Google, Snapchat, whatever. You really can't beat that. Sometimes the quality can be questionable, but of course, anything you're going to be doing online can be questionable in terms of the quality of the people you've got coming in. The way that we run these campaigns and the strategy we found works really well, not just for any particular industry or product, just in general, is having 2 campaigns. So you've got one campaign which we refer to as initial contact. And what you're going to be doing is just hitting a target audience that would fit within your brand. So anyone you want to resonate with your product and your service, right, we hit those. So let's say if that's going to be, for me personally, if I was PT and still, it would be, probably guys who are 20 to 35, 40 maybe, within the UK. I'm doing this online as well, so it's UK wide. So we're hitting that entire audience. So it's quite a broad audience, which is good because you want to have a broad audience. Within those advertisements, we're going to have videos that are going to be not so direct, not talking really about how you can convert, what I've got to offer, just more introducing them to the brand. It's going to be, hi, I'm Luke, I do A, B, and C. These are my USPs. Head to my website to check it out. You want to be quite prominent on the call to action to head to your website or to your page, because what you're going to be doing is using that for retargeting. So you can, whether you've got like a Canva website, which a lot of people do now, a lot of PTs have, or you've got a Wix website or Squarespace, any of those easy to build websites, you can do this as well, because all you need is a meta tracking pixel. The audience that are going to go from that first stage of initial contact onto the website, you're then going to use those for retargeting. And then you'll have a second campaign, and this is what we refer to as a conversion campaign. You're only going to retarget the audience that have clicked through onto your website. So the reason we do that is because it's super hard to convert a cold audience. They don't know who you are. They're not on Instagram to buy your product. You're going to initiate contact with your first campaign. They're going to go through to the website, and when they click on their website, let's say they hit the button to learn more, they go through to creatept.com, they've initiated that contact and they've shown intent. Whether they're ready to purchase or they're considering purchase, there's some level of interest they've shown in that product. So we're going to use that audience to retarget, and then we're going to get back in front of them with super direct advertisements, talking to camera stuff, with really good hooks, really direct of what you want them to do, talking about why they need to take action, how they're going to take action, and what's going to happen when they take action. So being really, really direct of what we're doing. And like I've mentioned as well, this strategy doesn't just work for the fitness industry, this strategies work for everything. So that's the number one I'd do. If I was a PT and I had the money to spend to kind of work out a strategy, that would what it would be. Of course, with these as well, especially with initial contact, it's kind of harder to refine the conversion campaign because you're only retargeting. The pool that you have receiving that advertisement is going to be quite limited. But with the initial contact, let's say if you're going to have a landing page views objective, the number one metric you want to look at that campaign is how much you're paying per landing page view. Let's say if you're paying 30p per landing page view, right, how can I get that down to 20? So you're going to want to A/B test the hell out of that. Every single asset you can A/B test, do it. And then once you're through on there, let's say on that landing page, you've got the meta campaign to an optimal level. You've got it down to, let's say, like 10p per landing page view. Likelihood is you're not going to get any better than that. Right, so we're happy with that. Then we're going to move on to the landing page. So where we're going to be sending them, what assets are going to perform better. You've got a couple of pieces of software which are really good. Number one's Hotjar. Number two is Microsoft Clarity. Microsoft Clarity is free. So is Hotjar to an extent, but what you can do with these tools is you'll get heat maps and recordings of your landing pages, and these can be implemented again on any website builders. And on there you can see how many users are clicking through, what they're doing, where they're spending their time, where they're clicking. You can see any kind of any leaks in the funnel, anywhere you're losing people, anywhere people are spending a lot of time. And from that data you can look, and you don't have to be a marketing expert to look at this. You can see, look, right there, they're getting to this point of the page, they're not filling out the form, and they're leaving the website. What do I need to do? Let's change a couple of things. Just spitball a couple of things, change it, see how it works. That's the only way you're going to refine your strategy down. But eventually what you're going to have is a pretty fine-tuned campaign where you're providing brand awareness for the initial contact. People are going to your website, they're clicking through, they've shown an intent, and then you're hitting them again with your conversion adverts. So you're hitting a warm audience, and then from there you're getting them to sign up, whether it's going to be direct purchase, or it's going to be lead generation, or it's going to be booking a phone call with you, doing a consultation, anything like that. That's the best way I'd go around it, and that's the way I found with particular success recently anyway.
One thing I want to just go back on there, you mentioned a leak in the funnel. Me not being very marketing savvy, as you well know, what sort of leaks in the funnel could potentially happen, and how do you fix them?
Good bit of gaffer tape. So if we have a look at the funnel, what the funnel is going to be. So the first step is going to be your initial contact campaign on Instagram, and they're going to go through to the website. And then from the website, they're going to come away whether they convert on there or they don't. The next stage is going to be the conversion campaign, so retargeting them, and then sending them back to the landing page to hopefully convert. If not, we're going to get them retargeting again until they do convert. But that's kind of your funnel, and it's just if there's a leak in the funnel, there's going to be a problem somewhere. So rather, it's an asset on your advertisement. Maybe it's the users you're hitting, so your target audience. There's some issues that you need to optimize within your detailed targeting. The landing page as well. Maybe the content in the landing page is wrong. Maybe it's not optimized for mobile. There's just something within that funnel from that user journey from awareness to conversion where you're losing people.
I mean, you mentioned there websites and landing pages and all of those different things. Obviously, you need to create them. What do you use and what would you recommend PTs, online coaches, in terms of tech to get all that up and running, really?
Yeah, with the way we do things, of course, we're an agency, so we have premium technology which we use, which is typically Adobe Suite for everything creative, so Photoshop, Premiere Pro, Illustrator, InDesign, everything like that. We also use ChatGPT, which, of course, for a lot of people in marketing and a lot of other sectors, has become their best friend over the last year or so. For PTs and online coaches coming into the industry who don't have that money to play around, paying like extortionate subscription fees, there are tons of free alternatives. And if I'm honest with you, a lot of them do a bang up job. For example, anything creative, Canva's great for. You have Canva Pro, which I think is only about £5 a month, which you can pay for. It offers you a bit more. I mean, you can build your branding suite and stuff on there, it's handy and it will save you time. But the free version is just as good. For video editing, CapCut, which you can do video editing on Canva as well, but you can't. CapCut's really good, and that's made for short form videos. So the UI, the UX, all the features on there, everything's around, creating TikToks or Instagram Reels. You're not going to get better than that. There's a few other alternatives like iMovie. There's tons out there, but yeah, I'd say CapCut's probably the best thing if you're going to be creating content for social media. As well, in terms of AI, Gemini is a good one. ChatGPT is probably the golden standard of generative AI, but Gemini is good as well. So that's Google's alternative. Combine those three, you've got everything in terms of creating any marketing assets. When it comes to creating a website, Wix is your best friend. You've got a couple of alternatives out there, but Wix is definitely the best. You've got templates as well. You can create templates that, it's kind of plug and play. You get a template from Wix. You will have to pay for your domain and hosting, but that's pretty affordable as well, especially, let's say, if you're only creating a landing page with a bit of information on there. I'm not too sure how much it is, but it's going to be like under £10 a month for everything all in. Once you're on that builder, it's a simple drag and drop job. So it's okay. I want to put an extra picture in here. You can just drag that in and that's done. I want to change the title of the page. Okay, it's just typing that in and that's done. It's made for amateurs to build websites. You speak to a lot of web developers now and they absolutely hate it, but the tools are out there. They're free. They're easy to use. So take advantage of them. You may as well.
You mentioned Wix being like the sort of one that you should really use because of how many templates and stuff it has. So I'm on Wix as a PT. What do I need to put on there? Where do I go with Wix? I have no idea.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward with the templates, especially because they're going to be made for you to use. They're made to make quick and easy websites with. With the content you're getting on there, I would try and have personalized images. And when I say personalized, I mean images of you, images of your clients, images you've shot. Stock photos are very blatant. You know when something's a stock photo, and it does disengage the user somewhat. Not everyone who's going to be as tech savvy as others, so maybe not for 100% of your traffic, but there's a good portion of that who probably will be turned off by the use of stock photos.
I'm just thinking about, like, with creating stuff, obviously our competitors, our direct competitors, I could think of 2 websites and 2 companies right now who've got the same photos. Well, it's not from the same, like, they ultimately haven't gone and had the same photo shoot. They've got them from a Shutterstock image somewhere and they're exactly the same. How, for us, it's embarrassing to look at, but for the audience, as you say, it's still not going to be that engaging, is it? It's not right out there.
No, it springs and roundabouts, so because we've just got loads of pictures of Adam and that shiny head all over the websites. Yeah, the other bits as well, when it comes to imagery, stay away from the stock photos if you can. Have your own stuff on there, but just make sure they're good quality. Make sure they're clear. Another big thing as well is mobile responsivity. So you want to make sure your website's responsive with mobile. You should be okay with the majority of web builders if you're using templates because they will build that with that in mind, but you're probably going to see 90% of your traffic come through mobile. A lot of web developers and web designers now actually design websites mobile first because that's the majority of the traffic. That's where your users are going to be. That's how they're going to be using the website. So that needs to be the priority. Even more so with any PTs, if content marketing, which is most likely going to be your biggest form of website traffic, they're going to be coming from mobile. How many people use Instagram on their computer? It's going to be on mobile, so it needs to be mobile optimized. Something else is going to be forms. So your contact forms on the website, you really want to have a prominent contact form of how people can take action. If it's not going to be a form, it has to be some form of conversion. So whether that's going to be a phone call or an email, or you've got a WhatsApp widget where people can click through and chat to you on WhatsApp, I would say contact forms are best. If you can package that in a certain way as well, let's say it's going to be a free consultation. Personally, we use a free discovery call. So you can book a free discovery call, which is essentially a consultation. It's a call with me where I can sit down, chat to you for half an hour about your marketing, about your ambitions, and about how we can help. If you can have the same thing, let's package it up as a PT, it's going to be a consultation or fitness MOT, a health MOT, anything like that, where you're adding value for someone to enter their details. Because at the end of the day, it is transactional. You're swapping your service for their details. You can have a simple inquiry form, and it will work. If people are interested, they come to your website specifically looking for your services and they want to purchase. But if we can, the term we usually use, or the figure we usually use, is only 3% of the market are ready to buy immediately. And that's even within the next 30 to 60 days. People actually coming through onto your website is going to be less than that. So that's just something else. If people don't want to go for an inquiry and purchase straight away, you've got a secondary form of contact there. And then you've got their details. You don't have to badger them, but you can check in on them in a couple of months' time. Like sales calls are probably not the best way to go, not really hard sales calls anyway, but there's no reason you can't contact them in a couple of months and just check in how they're doing. So just in conclusion about the website, just keep things basic. If you can use a template, you make it simple and easy for yourself. Same with everything else, with the branding, with your content schedule, with the software you're using, just keep things simple. This website doesn't need to be groundbreaking. It just needs to convey your brand well. It needs to be clear and concise of where you want your users to go. So where you want them to convert. If it's going to be a form or a phone call or an email, just make that user journey clear.
I want to go on and talk about SEO. First of all, what does SEO stand for? What does it mean? And how do you use it?
So SEO's search engine optimization, and it's essentially just the optimization of your website content and your metadata in order to show up for specific terms on search engine results pages. And that sounds like a load of gobbledygook, but it's fairly simple on how we're doing this. So really, just in layman's terms, you would select a phrase for a page. Let's say if I'm a PT in Chelmsford, my word's going to be PT in Chelmsford. That's a phrase I want to come up for because people are searching that into Google to look for my service. Okay, so I'm going to optimize the page around that phrase. So when my website's crawled in Google, it's indicated that that's what the content on this page is about, and then we're going to show up for that phrase. It's pretty simple to do. It's easier than people think, and a lot of web builders, which a lot of PTs or online coaches would be using, so Wix and Squarespace both have their own built-in SEO checklist where you can put in a keyword and then they give you a checklist of how you can optimize the page for that. And it's pretty simple. It's very entry-level SEO, you know what I mean? You're not going to be ranking number one in the country, but it should serve a purpose for, let's say, if you want to do anything local. One tip I would have on that as well is using longer tail keywords, and this in the marketing sector we describe as low-hanging fruit. So typically longer tail keywords are lower competition. There'd be lower search volume as well, but there'd be lower competition, so it's going to be easier to rank. So what you can make it a bit more specific. So let's say if we're going to be looking for personal training in Essex, actually we're going to do a little bit more local, let's do Chelmsford. So personal training in Chelmsford for young women. The competition there is going to be so much lower than if you optimize for personal training. You have to have it more specific. The longer tail keywords, the more chance you have to rank. Of course, work your way for those checklists. Make sure you can get it up to a point where you're up to like 100%, or I think a few of them are graded by like letters, so that you're A rated. It's pretty simple to do. It's very like, okay, 1, 2, 3, you've got a checklist of things you need to complete. In terms of offsite SEO, your Google My Business listing is massive for your local SEO. Even the agency I run, SX Marketing, the majority of our leads come through for our GMB listing. That's going to be your best friend. If you can get a good amount of reviews on there, the only downside is you do need a business address. So this can be your personal address, but it does mean you've got to have your personal address on Google Maps, and it will come up with a widget and an icon of where you are, which isn't ideal for most people, and I know most people probably wouldn't be comfortable with that. But if there is, let's say you're working out of a gym, speak to the gym owner, see if you can use that address. There's no reason, it's not going to detract from anything they're doing or their business. It's worth an ask. All they can do is say no. So it's really worth doing that. If you can get a couple of reviews on there as well to build that credibility, that's going to be your best friend. So, because if anyone's in the area searching for, again, let's say personal trainers in Chelmsford, you're going to come up not only hopefully in the organic search results, but you'll come up under the Google Maps search results as well. So double bubble, or you're coming up one or the other, but that is really powerful, and that's something I really recommend. So another part of your SEO is blog writing and content writing, and this does kind of merge in with your content strategy as well. Not so much. I mean, what we spoke about earlier is mainly on social media marketing, content marketing on those platforms. But what is good as well, and something that we utilize especially, is blog writing and article writing on websites. That will allow you to kind of keep up with current trends, anything in the news at the moment, any industry updates, things like that, or writing about anything that you're interested in. It just allows you to rank for more keywords or more specific keywords. The one thing I will say on this is it probably isn't worthwhile for local personal trainers. If you were, say, a PT who would just PT in one city, not worthwhile. If you're an online coach and you're taking on clients UK-wide or anything like that, then it is worthwhile, because you're going to be ranking, you know, all over the country for this specific phrase or keyword. So the traffic that you're going to be getting to the website could engage with it and they could convert. Whereas personal trainers, the likelihood of someone coming through that blog onto your website who is from Chelmsford and be likely to purchase is very, very, very slim. But online coaching, because you've got that wider pool of potential customers, it's definitely worthwhile.
Brilliant, mate. This has been fantastic. So if you could summarise for me a few of the points, key points of the marketing strategies and stuff that we've gone through that PTs should be doing, that would be awesome. Yeah,
so when entering the industry, let's say if you've just finished your level 2 and 3 or an online coaching qualification, anything like that, number one is going to be branding. You have to create an authentic brand. Everything else revolves around that. So that's the number one thing you start with. Always start with your brand. Get that right first, and that sets up the foundation. It's almost like a domino effect. If you knock that one first, everything else will follow after that. So the second thing would be your content marketing, working on a strategy that works for you. It's such a time-consuming way of marketing yourself, but for a lot of PTs and online coaches, it's a primary form of outreach. Just make it easy. Use templates, use Canva, use anything you can to just make it quick, simple and painless. And when it comes to the digital advertising, which is going to of course be number 3, don't run ads till you're ready. I know I've stressed this a lot earlier, but don't even think about it until you're later on down the line. Give it a couple of years, build up your organic channels, pattern everything you can for free, you know, on the gym floor, friends and family, referrals, organic social media, SEO, get your website running, and then consider advertisement. Don't do that till you're ready, until you have the money to play around to refine that strategy. Otherwise, you're just going to give up before you've even got started. Number 4 would be utilising free software. So I went through a few bits earlier, like Canva, CapCut, Gemini, anything like that. Really utilise the hell out of those platforms. They're there for you to use. Same with Wix as well. Simple, free, efficient, and made for people who are in your shoes, who are just entering the market, don't have a huge amount of know-how on to create these assets. That's made for you. Make sure you utilise those tools, because that could give you a lifeline in terms of digital marketing. Number 5, relating to your website and SEO. So it would, I mean, not for all PTs entering the industry, it's going to be necessary straight away, but I do recommend getting a website set up. Even if it's just a super simple one-page website where people can go and submit their details, get it up. I mean, even if no one's going there to begin with, you're not getting any users come through, let's say like your SEO or your QR code on your leaflets or through your social media accounts, it still builds that credibility. If they can see that there is a domain there, it's connected up to you, it's about you and your service, it just adds a little bit of trust.
Mate, it's been fantastic today. Thank you so much for taking the time to go through some of those bits and pieces. You know as well as I do, APT wouldn't be where it is without you and the guys at SX Marketing, because me personally, especially, I have no clue with this stuff. I've learned a little bit more, but it's not for me, but you guys are top pros at it. And I would also sort of recommend to people who are coming into this space, whether it be personal trainers, online coaches, if you are looking to grow at a big rate and a big size, when you have the option, an opportunity to bring a team in, such as you guys, do it. Because focus on what you're good at and get people like yourselves in to do the other parts. It's worked for us.